Hi, welcome to Jacob Podcast Productions. Today I'm with Dr. Matthews, and we're very excited to have you and get to know more about your job and profession. Thank you so much for being with us.
I am excited. Thank you.
So, I guess we'll get straight into the questions. So, describe the path you took from high school to graduate school to become the scientist that you are today.
So I grew up in India, and typical route in India is after your 10th grade, you decide what you want to do, and you can kind of specialize yourself on different streams. So the stream that I like to take is biology with math. So that's the stream that I went into. So for the next 2 years, the 11th and 12th grade, I did that, completed that, and then you give an exam. Typically in India, is it's an all India based exam, and you decide what professional stream you want to go further into. And because I've taken bio and math, you can choose either medicine, agriculture, veterinary, and few other streams like fisheries and so forth. So I chose agriculture for my undergrad. I did my bachelor's in agriculture sciences, and then came to the US. And then during my undergrad, I had a little bit of interest in molecular biology,
Mhm.
and that's how I started in North Carolina State University first, and then went to Arizona State University for my doctorate degree, for
Okay.
my grad school. So yeah, that's how I ended up. And then with that, moved into, I did a couple more positions, more research based. That's what my heart is, and that's what
Mhm.
I enjoy. And that's how I moved into being a scientist.
So then, specifically, your career is gene editing. So why is it that you went into that instead of, there's obviously quite a few fields in molecular biology and agriculture. So what about gene editing spoke to you the most?
Very good question. I like that because so I was not in gene editing. I would say probably 4 years ago. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
but inherently, if you think of from a molecular biologist mind, what are we trying to do? Is either we're trying to understand what what is causing something, or what can we do? It's two questions you can answer. So, to example, before 4 years ago, I was looking more at causative things, as for example, in insects, I was working on a insect called pink worm, and pink bollworm is actually a pest of cotton, and it's a pest of very heavy pest of cotton in India specifically. In the US, not so much. We had a project with the Indian scientists in India, so it was kind of fascinating because I came from India, right?
Mm-hmm.
So understanding what was causing this what we call as resistance, meaning these insects were heavily feeding on cotton, and that cotton was engineered to make this toxin that should have killed this insect, but the insects were able to thrive in the presence of the toxin.
Okay.
So my role was to understand from a molecular end in that insect what was causing this insect to be resistant to this toxin.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they able to thrive in that toxic environment? And so it was more of understanding the causative reason for what these toxins are causing, what these toxins were doing in the insects. But as gene editing sort of came into picture, as you know, it's a relatively new field.
Right.
It actually broadened the whole thing. It's like, what can you now do? Because if now we know that this gene is responsible for so and so, and if this gene can give you desired effect by changing a few base pairs, changing a few sort of you know few nucleotides from a DNA. If you look at it from a
Mm-hmm.
very basic aspects, your signature, if you can change something, you're able to now make something more desired in the plants. And it just blew my mind away. I was like, there here we have something where I can take this beyond what I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to understand, and now take it more beyond to make it more useful to us as humans. And food is an integral part of that. So
Right.
that's, I would say, that was that desire to kind of take it and bring it something to normal person to a common man
Mhm.
in terms of food. That was my key thing to move into that direction.
Okay. So moving on towards your current work. So you were previously working on cotton. What is it that you are researching today?
Oh, so right now in this company that I'm working for, Pairwise,
Mhm.
I'm leading projects on soybean and canola. Okay, and both of these are, so in the US there are certain five major crops. The corn is the biggest one. Then you have soybean. Then you have the small crops like canola, wheat, and cotton. So these are
Mhm.
five major crops, and we say that those are the row crops that typically most growers in the U.S. are growing. And the projects that I'm working on is in soybean and canola, and the main part that I'm looking for is grower traits, we call. And grower traits is, for them, the most important is how can you increase yield, meaning
Mhm.
in the same small unit area, what other things can you make, what can you do to increase yield in plant. And that's primarily the projects that I drive.
Mhm.
So using gene editing, what genes can you manipulate to increase yield in plant, and especially in in soybean and canola.
Okay. And I might be mistaken, but soybean, do you think that this will apply towards kind of that shift towards more synthetic meats where you're using plant-based products to replace
Ooh.
meat? Do you think that would have an application there?
Absolutely. There's already a big push in that direction, right? Because
Mhm.
soybean is used to supply to give the same texture of meat. So plant-based meat, one of the applications of soybean is in that direction.
Mhm.
Not just so. So from that, you have to think of a couple different aspects of it. It's not just purely yield at that point. It's more the quality of the soybean,
Right.
the protein and the oil in the soybean. How can you manipulate that so that you get the right texture? And um, there is there's a whole lot of study that's being done in that direction. That's more quality
Mhm.
than quantity, if you think of. But
Okay.
absolutely, yes, that is also things that we are interested in.
Okay. And so in the next 5 to 10 years, where do you see yourself in the research you're conducting?
I hope what I'm doing actually ends up in the market. So if you think of, we're finishing up these projects with increasing yield, for example.
Mhm.
Those are We have a collaboration with a different company called Bayer, and so I very closely work with the folks from Bayer in taking these products into their testing ground. Making sure they are the best high yielding variety, and then hopefully this will end up in the grower's hand, which would be very fulfilling to me.
Mhm.
One, as something that I worked on, and then if I can go in that direction, make a real lasting effect in the customer,
Mhm.
that's where I want to go be more involved in, and that's where I would like to kind of push myself in that area and keep growing.
Okay. So this is our final question. What advice would you give for anyone looking to follow in your footsteps and start a career in biotechnology?
Oh, just keep your mind. It's just inquisitive. Like, you know, there is with anything with biotechnology, there is a lot of opportunities there. It's somewhat in any science or analytical sort of mind. If you have,
Mhm.
keep your mind very inquisitive. Be think have that you know that thought in mind to be very inquisitive, and then keep at it, and then keep working. It doesn't matter what field in the end you choose, but
Mhm.
in whatever it is, keep at it and do your best
Okay.
and keep
Well,
at it. Yeah.
thank you so much for the interview. It's been wonderful to get to know more about you and the field you've chosen. It's been very interesting. So,
Thank you so much, Michael. This is so much fun. I hope I was able to explain in a very simplistic way that helps you all understand what we are doing. And if there's more questions, you know where you can find me. So
Okay.
please do ask. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.